It is believed that the Rosetta Stone bears the third Memphis ordinance written in 3 types of inscriptions: in Egyptian hieroglyphics, top; in Egyptian Demotic script, middle; and bottom, in ancient Greek. It is thought that the stone was one of several carved stelae erected in different places in Egypt against the background of the Great Revolt, 206 to 186 BC. It is thought that the text of the third ruling of Memphis, written by Egyptian priests in 196 BC to commemorate the achievements of Ptolemy V and to affirm the cult of the young king, was carved on the steles. However, it must be said to add to this that the ruling Ptolemies were actually Greeks. When Ptolemy IV died, power passed to his 6-year-old son, who, by the time this decree was written, was no more than 14 years old. The decree refers to his victory in the Nile Delta over a faction of native Egyptians, who rebelled violently against Greek rule. Little is known of this rebellion to this day, for only a few dubious texts have survived about it, along with the Rosetta Stone. Recent excavations at the ancient city of Tiemwe, where according to dubious texts some of the bloody events of the rebellion took place, have provided archaeological evidence of these bloody events. At Tiemwe, archaeologists have encountered evidence of the violent extermination of large numbers of people. Do these findings lead to a new, more nuanced understanding of the role of the Rosetta Stone in the event field of the time? Does its value as a propaganda document created during that tumultuous time now outweigh its value as a linguistic key? Or are we dealing with a genocide of unknown origin? The Rosetta Stone is one of the best sources of information about the Great Revolt, says Silverstein, but realizing that the main motive behind the Rosetta Stone is propaganda, without any archaeological data its records are difficult to interpret. So there is a stone, but no evidence. Everything that could be found of the infamous event of the Great Revolt has been destroyed. The Rosetta Stone praises the alleged deeds of Ptolemy. What kind of bizarre deeds? Chose a black stone and crookedly tapered and barely scratched various texts. Some kind of extreme disrespect for the royal person. There were no other similar stones or steles. Setting out to find the facts is always the right thing to do, but unfortunately, in most cases the facts are missing or not reliable. Everything has long been falsified. So it remains to ask questions. And let there be more questions than answers. The right question is the path of doubt. Doubt is the road in the eternal search for truth. Henry Taze. What if it is an artificial fake? 195 years ago, Jean-François Champollion told of a reading of the Rosetta Stone. The 27th of September 1822 is considered to be the birth date of the science that would later be called Egyptology. After his death, his discoveries were fiercely criticized and only finally accepted by the scientific community in the 1860s. It may be taken as ironic that the man who gave voice to the people of ancient Egypt and opened their world to modern scientists was, before his death, more incapable than ever of articulating his thoughts. In mid-1790, Jacques Champollion, a bookseller in the small town of Figeac in France. At the age of 7, he first heard the magic word, Egypt, in connection with the deceptive brilliance of the Fata Morgana, the supposed but unrealized plan for his brother Jacques-Joseph, who was 12 years older than François, to participate in Napoleon's Egyptian expedition. In fact, the Rosetta Stone was found by an unknown soldier. We shall never know whether he was an educated man and therefore was able to appreciate the full significance of his find as soon as his pickaxe came across the stone, or whether he was an illiterate fellow and cried out at the sight of this plate covered with mysterious writings for fear of the effects of its magic charms. Champollion learned of the deciphering on the street, on his way to the Collège de France. This news was told to him by a friend, not even aware of what Champollion had been doing for years, what he had dreamed of, what he had been working on for days and nights on end, starving, moving from hope to despair. Alexandre Lenoir, said a friend, his work, a little pamphlet called The New Explanation, has just appeared. It's a complete decipherment of hieroglyphics. A murky story. So what is the pathos of Champollion's criticism? First of all, that he has abandoned the earlier conclusions reached 1,000 years before him by Horopollon. The authors have, at first glance, faithfully quoted what Kerem has written about him. Yes, indeed, Horopollon was the first to describe hieroglyphs, but he regarded them as so-called pictorial writing. At the same time, Horopollon invented explanations for each of the hieroglyphs in the form of little stories, as if explaining the meaning of each of the hieroglyphs. Yes, Indeed, all subsequent attempts to decipher the inscriptions from Egypt relied precisely on horopollon, and so were simply interpretations of incomprehensible, but very beautiful, ornamental images, hieroglyphic inscriptions. And it is all written by Kerem. In just a page and a half. Conclusions, as they say, are up to you.